Hello and welcome to a map of Iberia in Europa Universalis 5 or Project Caesar, whichever one takes your fancy. A few weeks ago we had the second of the Tinto maps posts, the first one of course being on the Low Countries, second now is on Iberia, and as before we now have an update to the area based on your feedback. It's just more proof that this is a collaborative effort and feedback is being taken on board and acted upon if it is correct, well-sourced, and all of that good stuff. So before we get into the actual changes, I just want to remind you that if you want to stay up to date and informed about everything coming out of Paradox Tinto with Project Caesar, then hit the subscribe button. And if you want to help me out at the same time, like the video, write a comment, all that good stuff. So let us get into the Iberian feedback. Lovely little joke at the start with nobody expecting the Spanish Inquisition joke and fanatical devotion to Pope Johann. But let's be honest, he's not Pope Johann. He is Johann al-Gaib. He is the one that was promised, of course. But anyway, let us get into the actual changes. There have been many changes. So here is a list of all of the added additional locations that have been added based on feedback. 22 new locations in Aragon. 62 new locations in Castile. Again, you could pause to read them out. I'm not going to do that. 3 new ones in Granada, 2 in Majorca, 2 in Navarra, and 29 new locations in Portugal. There have been several wastelands added and new implemented feedback for culture, religion, raw goods, topography, vegetation, climate, and population data. So that is quite a lot of additions purely just to the map itself, which is fantastic. He's not re-uploading all of the maps, but the relevant ones where the changes are more noticeable. For example, the changes in cultures are more evident than the changes in religions. So he'll just post the first one. Another one he won't be posting is the climate one, mainly because we're taking a look at a proposal. There might be further changes, the proposal being this one, and it's very, very deep. Giga detailed here. This is the kind of feedback that is super, super useful for people. Or for the devs. So first off, we'll go with locations, and it's hard to really see what the differences is. So we will open the old one and kind of flip back and forth. This is, of course, this is the update, and this is the old one. And you can see there is just so much more granularity being added. Salamanca being this large thing, Ocana being this big thing, and then they get split up. And it's the same basically across the board. You can see where those extra provinces were added, which is just fantastic. Moving on to the provinces map mode, and I'll pop this one over to the provinces map mode as well, and we'll flip back and forth, and just the amount of extra provinces, especially in the north and in the central Iberian region, are significant. This is really, really good news. Moving on to topography as well, and I'll pop this one on topography as well, and we'll flip back and forth. You can see most of the changes here being in the Aragonese region, inland sea not being quite so out of the sea, I guess. But yeah, no, it's really good to see the changes here as well. Good few changes here in Portugal as well, which is always nice as well. I say it as well way too many times there, but it is fine. For vegetation, this is the old version, and this is the new version. The woods have been spread around, splitting up the sparseness. But yeah, these are the kinds of changes that you can affect if you have the sources and you are willing to share them. Moving on to the culture map mode. And we'll flip back and forth. This is the old culture and the new culture. Lots of more Andalusi over in the Aragonese region, for sure. These blue stripes, I believe, are some form of Jewish population, which weren't being shown before, but now are. Catalan got a new color, which is nice. Basque's been spread out a bit more, and yeah, just I guess more Andalusia around the place. So very cool indeed. And then finally we have the goods map. This is the old goods map. This is the new goods map. Lots more livestock, and livestock also got a change in color, which is certainly interesting. If we can zoom in a bit, can we find medicaments? I'm looking for my medicaments. I can't see them. But yeah, legumes and livestock were a little bit too close together, I think. So now they're still pretty close together. They both got changed. I don't know about that one. But yeah, just a lot more locations, of course. So a lot more goods are being spread out throughout the place. And that's really good to see. Really, really good to see. They lost the wine on the coast to fiber crops, but I suppose that is all well and good and fine. They haven't yet added dynamic naming variants. That's why they kept some of the old ones. For example, Jativa instead of Zativa. I apologize for butchering the pronunciation of that, but it is what it is. They've progressed on how the naming system works, and they've taken notes of all the suggestions regarding the topic, which will be implemented soon. Going back through the maps that we've just seen, the culture map, etc. While taking the screenshot, they found a bug regarding how and where the stripes of cultural minorities appear. For example, Vitoria has a similar amount of Castilian population as the location to its south, Añana, but the stripes don't appear in the latter. This has already been reported, but taken into account, this means that not all of the locations have completely accurate graphical representations. So that is good to take into account. They'll follow the thread in order to gather further feedback about the review, although the next post of this type will be the one for France. Don't have a fixed weekly date for it, as each map review takes a different amount of time, but they have other tasks they're working on in parallel, like adding the Middle Eastern minorities, so these will be randomly appearing posts at least for a while. But yes, on Friday we will see a map devoted to the British Isles, which, as an Brit, I am very much looking forward to. And also, I do recognize that while my eyesight is fine at this level, I recognize that I have been skipping over things. Like when I was looking at the map of Italy, I said there was no medicaments, and there just was. I was just wrong, and I just missed them. And there's probably the same thing happening here. I don't see them, but it's almost certainly there, and I don't see it. But yeah, it just is what it is. But anyway, I'm going to leave this video here. I want to thank you all very much for watching, and remind you that if you have any feedback that you want to leave on Iberia, things that you have noticed that may be out of place, maybe you know of a province or a location, a city in Spain that is monstrously famous for its food of X type, and it would be a good idea if that location was to have, a wine good or a wheat good or livestock good, etc. Purely based on the famousness of that dish, then that is certainly something that can be, commented on and acted upon. So if you know of that, leave the feedback in the thread. I will, of course, be posting a link to it. But until tomorrow, when we learn about the cabinet system for EU5, I will bid you adieu. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.